Okay, good morning class. So start tayo with angle bisector. Angle bisector is a ray that divides the angle into two congruent angles. So let's say we have here angle BAC. So yung angle bisector natin dito is si ray AD. So referring to this illustration, angle BAC. So let's say ray AD bisects angle BAC if point D is in the interior angle BAC and angle BAD is congruent to angle CAD. So kung si point D daw po nasa loob ni angle BAC at kung si angle BAD ay congruent to angle CAD, therefore ray AD, itong red ray po, is a bisector of angle BAC. So example, if ray AD is a bisector of angle BAC and angle BAD is 35 degrees, then angle DAC is equal to what? So 35 degrees din po siya. Kasi kapag may angle bisector po tayo, magkakaroon tayo ng dalawang congruent angles. Okay, next, perpendicular lines. These are lines that form four right angles. So line L is perpendicular to line M. We write line L perpendicular to line L. If L is perpendicular to M, then angle 1, angle 2, angle 3, and angle 4 are all right angles. Okay, next. Definition of a distance from a point to a line. The distance from a point to a line is the length of the perpendicular segment from the point to the line. If the point lies on the line, then the distance is 0. So, yung distance daw po nitong ni point P from line GH is the length of the segment PF. Okay? At kung si point P naman daw po ay nandito sa line GH, halimbawa nandito po siya, ibig sabihin yung distance po is equal to 0. So the distance from point P to line GH is segment PF. So segment PF is perpendicular to line GH. Next, theorem number 26. A point on the bisector of an angle is equidistant from the sides of the angle. So yung point daw po dun sa angle bisector is equidistant siya from both sides of the angle. So kung mula dito hanggang dito po ay 5 cm. So, kung mula po dito hanggang dito po ay 5 cm siya. Then, mula dito hanggang dito po ay 5 cm din po siya. Okay? The same distance po. Next, theorem number 27. A point equidistant from the sides of the angle lies on the bisector of an angle. So, kung si point daw po ay equidistant siya from both sides of the angle, meaning to say, that point lies on the angle bisector. So, kung si point po ay nandito at hindi na siya equidistant from both sides of the angle, meaning to say, this point do not lies on the bisector of an angle. Okay, next. Congruent segments. these are two segments having the same measures. So let's say we have here segment AB and segment CD, and the measure of segment AB is 5 centimeter, and the measure of segment CD is 5 centimeter also. Therefore, segment AB is congruent to segment CD, since segment AB and segment CD have the same measures. Okay, next, right triangle. So, it is a triangle having one right angle. So, ito po yung right angle niya. So, the measure of a right angle is always equal to 90 degrees. Next, HL theorem or hypotenuse leg theorem. If the hypotenuse and one leg of a right triangle are congruent to the corresponding hypotenuse and leg of another right triangle, then the two triangles are congruent. So, kung yung hypotenuse daw po ng isang triangle, si triangle ACM, is congruent to the hypotenuse of triangle ACP, and another leg is congruent to one leg of another triangle, then these two triangles are congruent. So ito po yung mga congruent sides po nila. So that means triangle ACM and triangle ACP are congruent. Next, reflexive property of congruence. So, any figure is congruent to itself. So, let's say we have here segment AB. Therefore, segment AB is congruent to segment AB. Perpendicular bisector. So, perpendicular bisector of a segment is a line, ray, segment, or plane that is perpendicular to the segment of its midpoint. So, halimbawa, meron po tayo ditong segment GH and a midpoint F. So, kung tatama po dito yung line natin sa point F at makakabuo siya ng right angle, meaning to say, this line, this red line, line PQ, is the perpendicular bisector of segment GH. Okay po. Next, theorem number 28. So, sa theorem number 28, a point on the perpendicular bisector of a segment is equidistant from the endpoint of a segment. So, dito po sa illustration natin, we have here line PF perpendicular to line, segment GH. So, ma-apply natin yung theorem number 28 dito kung one of the points from line PF is equidistant from point H and point G. So, kung mula dito sa point na to hanggang dito is 5 cm, at mula dito hanggang dito is 5 cm, therefore, this applies theorem number 28. Okay, next, theorem number 29. So, a point equidistant from the endpoints of a segment lies on the perpendicular bisector of a segment. So, kung meron daw po tayong ditong point, let's say, itong point po dito, si point X. Okay, si point X. So, kung equidistant po siya from both endpoints of this segment, therefore, this point lies on a perpendicular bisector, which is line PF. Ibig sabihin, kung 5 kung mula dito sa point H hanggang dito kay point X is 5 cm and mula kay point G hanggang kay point X is 5, therefore, line PF is a perpendicular bisector of segment GH. Okay, next. Theorem number 30. If a line contains 2 points, each of which is equidistant from the endpoints of a segment, then the line is the perpendicular bisector of a segment. So, kung meron daw po tayong dalawang point dito sa line, sa red line po natin, that are equidistant from both endpoints of segment AB. Therefore, this line is a perpendicular bisector of segment AB. So, kung mula dito kay point B hanggang kay point X is 5 at 5 din pa siya mula kan point A, and let's say from point B to point Y is 10, okay, and from point A to point Y is 10, therefore, line XY is a perpendicular bisector of segment AB. Okay, next, midpoint of a segment. It is a point that divides the segment into two congruent segments. So, kung meron tayo ditong segment AB and a midpoint X, therefore, segment AX is congruent to segment BX. Okay? So, kung meron din tayo ditong 6 cm, therefore, meron din tayo ditong 6 cm. Okay, next, theorem number 6. Every segment has exactly one midpoint. So, kung meron tayo ditong segment AB, therefore, meron lang po tayong isang midpoint which is point X. Okay. Next, theorem number 16. In a plane, a line perpendicular to one of the two parallel lines is perpendicular to the other. So, kung meron po tayo ditong parallelogram ABDC and a line XY passes to two sides of this or to two parallel lines of this parallelogram. So, kung si point XY perpendicular to line AB, therefore, line XY is also perpendicular to line CD. Okay, next. So, line pair postulate. So, si line pair postulate po are two angles that form linear pair. Two angles that form linear pair are supplementary, which means the sum of these two angles is 180 degrees. So, kung si angle ABD is 80 degrees at si angle CBD is 100 degrees, and if their sum is 180 degrees, therefore these two angles are supplementary. Okay? Next, AAS postulate. If two angles and non-included sides of one triangle are congruent to the corresponding two angles in the non-included sides of another triangle, then the two triangles are congruent. So, kung meron lang po tayong dalawang angle from triangle BDA that are congruent to two angles of triangle BDC and one leg from triangle BDA that is congruent to one leg of triangle BDC. Therefore, these two triangles, triangle BDA and triangle BDC, are congruent to each other by angle-angle side postulate. Okay, next, SSS postulate. So if the three sides of one triangle are congruent to the corresponding three sides of another triangle, then the two triangles are congruent. So kung meron tayo ditong triangle ABC and triangle CDA at lahat ng sides nila ay may congruent sides to another triangle, therefore these two triangles are congruent. So triangle ABC and triangle CDA are congruent. So by side postulate. So okay, next, SAS postulate. If two sides and the included angle of one triangle are congruent to the corresponding two sides and the included angle of another triangle, then the two triangles are congruent. So let's say we have here triangle ACB and triangle ECD. Now we have here line AC and line BC congruent to line EC and line DC, and an included angle ACB is congruent to angle ECD. Therefore, these two triangles are congruent. Triangle ABC is congruent to triangle EDC by side angle side postulate. Okay, next, line postulate. So the points determine the line. So if we have here 2 points from this line, point A and point B, therefore we can call this line as line AB. So that would be all. Thank you.